Hey everybody, it's your girl Miss Amy coming at you from quarantine, and this week we're going to talk about decision making. Woo. All right, last week we talked about setting reachable goals. We talked about what a goal is, something you want to achieve, and we talked about the 6 steps for reaching our goals. Hopefully, some of you guys have already made a lot of progress in reaching your goals. Today we're going to talk about decision making, and first our quote: "Life is the sum of all of your choices." Deep. Deep, guys. Yeah, there we go. Decision making. We make decisions all the time. We make them every day. How many decisions have you made so far today? I don't know if it's morning or afternoon for you. It's morning for me. I've already made a lot of decisions. Think of a number. What do you think? And then what decisions did you make? For example, I decided I was going to go and get some coffee this morning. But then I got to the coffee shop and they were closed. So I didn't get any coffee. But I made the choice to go there. What kind of decisions have you made so far today? Maybe you've decided what you're going to wear to school, what you're going to have to eat, whether or not you're going to do your homework, whether or not you're going to go to school. We've all made lots of different types of decisions today. And we're going to practice making some quick decisions. We're going to do a little activity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some decisions up on the board here, up on the screen, and I want you to make a decision as quickly as possible. I want you to pick one as quick as possible. You can do this out loud if you want, but you'll probably really annoy your teacher, so maybe just do it in your head. So here we go. What would you choose? Number 1, watch a movie at the theater or watch a movie at home? 2, solve math problems or read a book? Eat ice cream or eat cake? Earn money or spend money? Receive a surprise gift or a gift you picked out? Get a kitten or a puppy? Eat peas or carrots? Tell a joke or hear a joke? Go to a football game or go to the ballet? Play video games or play outside? What did you think? Those were pretty easy decisions to make, right? Why were they easy decisions to make, though? It might be because most of these decisions don't really have any consequences. I mean, unless you're allergic to ice cream, like lactose intolerant, eating ice cream's not really going to do anything bad, right? Most of these don't have consequences to them. They're easy to make decisions. You don't have to stop to think about what you're supposed to be doing. What is a consequence? Well, a consequence is the result or the effect of something that happens. For example, let's say that you forget to set your alarm clock for the night before you go to school. What might happen? What is the consequence of that? Well, if you don't set the alarm won't ring. If the alarm doesn't ring, maybe you don't wake up in time to get on the bus or to go to school. If you're late to school, maybe you're going to miss out on something important in one of your classes. So that would be a consequence of not setting your alarm. Do consequences always have to be negative? No, some consequences can be positive. For example, if you study for a test, a consequence of that might be that you get a better grade on that test. Not all decisions are easy to make, though. Some are more difficult. What might be an example of a more difficult decision we have to make? Maybe choosing what sport we want to play. Maybe what career we want when we grow up. Or maybe even who we should be friends with. When it comes to making more difficult decisions, we have a set of decision-making steps, kind of like our goal-setting steps, but this time for decision-making. So the step 1 in making a decision is to stop. You have to stop and give yourself time. You need to stop and allow yourself a moment to see, what decision do I need to make here? Step 1 moves directly into step 2. We need to stop, and then we need to think. We need to think about what we're trying to accomplish. What is the decision we have to make? What are the possible consequences? And what do I need to do to get the positive consequences that I want, the best possible outcome? Step 3, act on it. Act on the decision that we've made, let it play out and see what happens. And then step 4, reflect. Did it go well? Great. Now we know that was a good decision that we made. Did it go poorly? Well, now we know what not to do again in the future. These are the 4 steps to making a decision. So now we're going to do a little bit of practice with this. We're going to do some scenarios, read some scenarios. If you look at page 5 in your workbooks, if you have them, if you don't, it's all right. They're going to be up here on the screen. But we're going to look at page 5 of our workbooks at these 2 scenarios for Janet and Jose, and we're going to figure out what are some of the negative consequences that might come from their decision making. So let's look at Janet's choice first. Janet was flipping through a magazine in a convenience store when a customer came in to pay for $20 worth of gas. The clerk turned his back to answer the phone. The customer checked his watch, tossed a $20 bill on the counter, and rushed out of the door. When Janet saw that the clerk wasn't paying attention, she grabbed the money and she stuffed it in her pocket. All right, so in your workbooks on page 5, you have space to come up with 3 negative consequences. What are the possible negative consequences of what Janet decided to do? Because I think we can all agree that stealing is not a good thing to do. So she stole that money that the person had used to pay for gas. So what are some negative consequences? I'm going to give you all a moment to come up with a few things. So what are some of the possible consequences of Janet's choice? Well, she made an impulsive decision, decided to steal that money, and so maybe the clerk catches her doing that, sees her move and take the money, and the clerk catches her. She's, I'm assuming, around y'all's guys' age, so maybe he doesn't call the police, but maybe he contacts her parents. Maybe her parents ground her for stealing the money. Maybe there are consequences that might happen at school because she's grounded or with her friends. There could be a lot of negative consequences for stealing the money. Let's say that she doesn't get caught by the clerk, but when she gets home, her parents are like, hey, where'd you get this money? You know, and then who knows? She might tell the truth. She might lie. If she tells the truth, she gets in trouble. If she lies and then gets caught, she could get in trouble again. Lots of possible negative things could happen from this choice. Let's look at Jose. Jose's choice. Jose was hanging out with friends in the school cafeteria. A couple of them were talking about tomorrow's science test and how easy it would be to cheat. Then one of them pulled out a copy of the answer sheet from his backpack and passed it to Jose. Jose looked over the answer sheet and immediately started memorizing the answers. Uh-oh, cheating. What are some possible negative consequences for Jose? I'll give you all a minute to write something down. Well, let's think about this. If Jose is hanging out with friends in the school cafeteria, that means there's people around. So people might have seen this happening. Maybe even a teacher sees it happening or overhears them having a conversation about this. If you get caught doing something like that, it's an automatic 0 when I was a kid. I don't know about anymore. I think it's still the case. So automatic 0 maybe getting in-school suspension. Maybe, Jose gets in trouble by himself and his friends don't get in trouble, or maybe they also get in trouble. This could be a possible negative consequence, not just for Jose, but maybe for a lot of people, the people who are hanging out with him as well. Jose let his peers influence him and possibly ended up with some negative consequences like failing the test, getting an automatic 0 on it. Let's look at the bottom section of page 5. It's called What Would You Do? We're going to do another scenario, and this time, instead of thinking about negative consequences, we're going to talk about what is the positive decision here to do in this situation. What should we do that is appropriate? So as we're walking out of the mall, allow me to rephrase that. As you are walking out of the mall, you look down and see a really cool watch. You look around to see if anyone is looking for something, but no one is there. What should we do? What are some things that we can do that are positive decisions? So if we stop and think, we found a watch, it's really cool, it's on the ground, nobody seems to be looking for it. What can we do in this situation? So what are some possible positive things we can do? Well, you're outside of the mall, it says. We look down, we see the cool watch. So maybe we pick the watch up, take it back inside to the nearest store and turn it into Lost and Found. We could do that. Maybe look and see if maybe there's an engraving on it. If it's a really cool watch, maybe the person has engraved it with something. Maybe there's some contact information. I don't know. Another option, if you don't want to go to the nearest store, whichever one that might be, depending on what exit of the mall you came out of, you can maybe find a mall security guard and turn it into them. Maybe take it to a jewelry store where they sell watches. They might be able to, figure out where it came from, who it might belong to. There are lots of different things for that. What are some possible positive consequences for what we decide to do, for our good decision? Maybe the person who lost the watch is so grateful that you found their watch, maybe they give you a reward. That would be great. But what if that doesn't happen? What if, you just return the watch to somebody who is looking for it, and what they give you is their gratitude? I think that would still be pretty great. I think it would make me feel really good, if I helped somebody get something back that they lost and that they cared about. So, too long, didn't read. To reach our goals, we have to make a lot of decisions. We need to stop and think about our decisions before we make them so that we can plan for any consequences, whether they're positive or negative. And sometimes our emotions can affect our ability to make good decisions. And we're going to talk about emotions more next week. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you then.